Yes, sir.
And at the time you went outside to start the car, can you tell us what you did when you walked out the door, and where did you go, and what happened?
I walked outside and I was over to the car and I heard some noise in the bushes. I thought it was a deer, so I jumped in the car, and then that's when he came and ran up to the car.
Where did you jump in the car, ma'am?
On the passenger side.
And at that time, when you got in the car, what did you do? What happened?
I instantly locked all the doors.
Then what did you see?
A gun pointed at me through the window.
And who was holding that gun?
Jamie Hood.
You see the person that you referred to as Jamie Hood in the courtroom now?
Yes, sir.
Would you point him out, please?
Right there.
And I made a record reflect she's pointing to the defendant, Jamie Hood. And ma'am, at that time, what happened? Was anything said, or what happened at that point?
Yes, he told me if I don't open the door and give him the keys, he was going to hurt me. And so I looked at him, and he put the gun up under the car, and he raised his hands up and was like, "See, I'm not going to hurt you, just open the door, I'm going to talk to you." So I opened the door, and he asked for the keys, and then he was like, "Do you know me?" And I was like, "No." He said, "Well, I'm the one that shot the cop and killed another one." And then he just started talking. He said, "I'm not going to hurt you, I just need to go in the house." So he asked me to take him to the house. So I got out of the car, he got his gun, and he had it pointed at me. So as we was walking in the house, he walked towards the lunchroom, he seen Chandra. And he had the gun pointed at Chandra. And she was like, "Hood." And he said, "Yeah, just go in the room." So he made us go in the room, and he woke up and drove. And then he asked us, "What do we do on a regular basis?" And I was like, "I go to school." And Chandra said she go to work. But then he was like, "Well, y'all not doing none of that today." And I was like, "No, I want to go to school." He was like, "No, you're not going to school, so baby, be quiet." And then he woke up and drove. And then they started talking. And he made me and Chandra call to the bathroom. And then
Which bathroom was that?
the bathroom when you first walk in, the house is right there.
The one that opens up into the living room?
Yes, sir.
And before he did that, do you remember any statements he made about what he may or may not do at that time?
I can't remember.
And at that time, you said you went into the bathroom, you called in the bathroom. You and Chandra?
Yes, sir.
Was anybody else going into the bathroom?
But at the time, it was just me and Chandra and Belinda. She was laying on the couch. And Michaela was sitting on the other couch. And him and Drew was in the room. They was talking.
You ever remember him saying anything about what he might do with 4 or 5 more folks?
Yes, he was like he wanted to kill 5 more people before he turned his opinion.
When did he say that?
In the middle of the day, like around 12, I believe.
So y'all were in the bathroom there.
I would object to that. He led her saying 4 or 5 people. I never heard of this. I just rested on me. I heard him say that he said the thing about 4 or 5 people. And she said, yes, he led her to say that's misleading. And I asked that to be strict because he said she did.
Now, what leading, she basically answered the question, she explained what it is that she heard. Y'all were in the bathroom. Did Mandrell come in the bathroom at some point?
Yes, I think he got them talking to me, Drew.
Could you hear at all what they were talking about?
No objection. That's a discovery violation because it ain't no bad discovery that I'm supposed to be the best under 4 or 5 people. He's saying stuff like he had a discovery. He said that his own mouth, so that's a discovery violation. Ain't in there.
Yeah. That's not a discovery violation, and we take this up outside the presence of the jury, but I would object to speak to the objection.
Overruling the objection.
But it ain't in discovery.
Overruling the objection.
Now, y'all were in the bathroom, you said, Mandrell came in there at some point after me. Could you hear it all from the bathroom? What was being said outside with Mandrell and the defendant?
No, I just know that Mandrell gave him $3,000.
And, Mandrell came into the bathroom,
Yes, sir.
and, when he came into the bathroom, what happened? All of y'all were in there?
Well, just me, Mandrell, and Senior, and then Jim Hood came in the bathroom. He was like, who is that sitting on the couch? And Mandrell was like, that's my mother-in-law. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry that she's here and all that. And then she was like, there's a baby right there. And we was like, yes, that's Senior's baby. And he was like, okay, give them in here. So when we got in there, he went and barricaded the house.
How did he do that?
He moved up, he took the couch and put it on the front door. Then he went in the room and put the bed on the window. He covered all the windows and he made sure all the doors was covered up where we couldn't get out.
And, did y'all remain in the bathroom at all?
Yes, we stayed in the bathroom till about 1 or 2.
And then, at some point, did you go somewhere else?
Yes, he made us call to Shannon Drake and Mandrell room.
Was that the back bedroom?
Yes, sir.
And, in there, how was that, what did that room look like? You indicated barricading. What did that room look like?
The mattress was on the window. And that's it. It was on one, I think it was on 2 windows and the 2 windows sit right by the side of each other, so the whole mattress covered both windows.
And, did you remain in there pretty much the rest of the day, or did you come out at some point and go to another part of the house at some point?
We stayed in there until, well, we really stayed in there about the whole day.
And, what was, Belinda like at that time?
She was still crying and upset.
And, this go on for another day into the next day on Friday?
Yes, but everyone they had calmed down because more people had come.
And who are the other people that came?
Chandra and Quentin, and then Terrence, Marky, and then Ronaldo Willis was the last person.
And, during this time period, did it go into the next day on that Friday as well?
Yes, sir.
And were you in the residence at the time of the surrender late Friday night?
Yes.
Did you come out of the apartment with everyone else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And before all that, do you remember basically there being phone calls to the police department at all?
Yes.
At any point during that time were you ever put on the phone?
Yes, sir.
And did you speak on the phone either to the police or to some other folks at that time?
I know I spoke on the phone, but I don't think it was the police. I think he called. I don't know who he called, but I just know I spoke on the phone.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay. Now, during that time, did you ever hear him making statements about Omari Ray?
Yes, sir.
What do you remember him saying?
That he killed Omar because he wouldn't give up where King was.
And did he talk to you about how he did that?
He didn't talk to me, but he was talking to the other dudes out there, and I heard him.
What did you hear him say?
That he went to he went to Omari's house because he wanted to find King. But Omar wouldn't tell him where King was, so he was like, he was gonna kill Omar. And Omar said he was gonna call his mama. So So Jamie was like, oh, you finna cry. So he started screaming for his mom, and Jamie said he shot him, and then he started screaming again, so he shot him again until he stopped screaming, and then he ran off.
And, you remember him saying anything at all about Don Brooks?
Yes.
What do you remember? Did he speak to you, or you just overhear that?
We was all in one room, and he was talking about it, that he kidnapped Omar. He kidnapped Janelle.
And do you remember anything about how he said he did that, or why at all, or do you know?
No, sir, I don't remember.
And do you remember him saying anything at all about the officers at all?
Yes.
What did he say that you heard?
That he didn't try to kill Buddy Christian. He wanted to kill Tony Hart because Tony Hart was a nasty dude, and he killed his brother.
He said Tony Howard killed his brother?
Yes, sir.
And what did he say about the other officer?
Buddy Christian?
Yes.
That he didn't mean to kill him.
And did he ever make any threats about you at all?
Yes.
What did he say?
That he was going to shoot me. When he was on a pistol with me, the officers or people would hurry up and get to the house, and he was getting ready to surrender.
And did he say anything at all about what he did with the lady and the carjacking and all, or how that came about? Do you remember?
No, I was in the room at that time.
Okay. And tell us how it is when the surrender happened. How it is that y'all wound up doing that, or what happened?
Because he was talking about he was going to do a drive-by on Black Road with Michaela and the front seat. And they was like, they didn't want to take the baby out there. And he was like, well, he wanted to go he wanted to kill Ken. If he couldn't get to Ken, he was going to kill his sister or his aunt. And then they was like, well, you're not taking my baby out. So then they was like, you might as well just go ahead and surrender. So as that, when he was like, okay, I'm going to surrender at 11:30. Then as we was getting ready to surrender, he made the women go in the bathroom. And the men was sitting in shaking journal. And everybody was just laid down because it was dark. He didn't want no lights on. And he made the kids be quiet. And then he was getting aggravated because when he was on the phone with the police, they wasn't doing what he wanted him to do. So then he was like, he was going to kill the 13-year-old. And then I guess they didn't believe her, so he made me get on the phone with the person that was on the phone and tell them that he was serious and tell them to hurry up and get there.
And before y'all went out, was anybody allowed to leave with the children?
Yes,
And who was that?
Major and Quincy.
And who were the two children?
Michaela Hall and Zion Ryan.
And then after that, at some point, did you walk out with everyone else at the time of the surrender?
Yes, sir.
You have to put your hands up?
Yes, sir.
And right before that happened, how did that, what was said inside the apartment there?
He made us call to the front, and as we got in the front room, he made us line up, and he got in between, I believe, Shay Andre and Ronaldo. And as then he told them to open the door, and he set his gun on the front, on the living room table, and we all just walked out with our hands up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Cross your time.
Morning, Ms. Bess.
Good morning, Mr. President.
When the last time you talked to the prosecutor officer about your coming home?
Last week,
What y'all was talking about last week?
about what happened.
Okay. So, did anybody, they were just refreshing your memory about what happened?
Well, I didn't talk to them, but I just listened to my tape again.
Okay, so they had you listening. Then tape, what tape did you listen to again?
The one that happened that night when we surrendered.
Okay, did you just say anything to the jury about the tape you listened to?
No,
Why not?
because they didn't ask.
Who didn't ask?
Well, he didn't ask me that. I just answered questions that happened.
Okay. So let's talk about this tape you had. So you did, are you referring to this, the March 26, 2011 interview you had with GBI agent Ms. Aldridge and Mr. Reed Montgomery, ma'am? Is that what you referred to the interview you had, that recorded interview?
Yes, sir.
You did have a recorded interview, right?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that during your interview you told them Jamie didn't hurt nobody, he treated us good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, could you tell the jury what you meant by Jamie treated us good and he hurt nobody?
He let us eat and let us talk or whatever and let everybody stay together.
Okay. I think you mentioned that I took everybody's phone. Is that right now? You said I took everybody's phone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, how was everybody able to text and talk to each other about took their phone last?
Because all our parents was calling because people were saying that Belinda wasn't at work and they was trying to find her. And that Chandra wasn't at work, they was trying to find her too. And you gave us the phones because they was on the phones up.
Isn't it true that y'all was looking at TV in the living room with me? Y'all was the kid was looking at TV, the little Sesame Street, whatever it was. Y'all was looking at TV back.
I was in the room, I don't recall.
You know. You wasn't telling a tale, but you.
Yeah. Because those questions need to be argumentative.
This is right.
Did you actually come to the prosecutor officer? Did you volunteer to go to the office? Did he come get you? Did they come get y'all? You said you talked to him last week. Did you volunteer to walk up here or somebody bring you up here? Did he come get in touch with y'all?
I asked, can I come?
Why did you have to come up here and talk to them about your interview?
Because I wanted to know when we had to come to trial for you and I needed to refresh my memory.
How did you get in touch with him? Did you have a phone number? How did you tell us about that?
I had that phone number.
Okay, and who did you call and who you talked to?
Miss Michelle.
Miss Michelle. What y'all talking about?
What we talking about now?
Okay. I don't know. You said you stayed at Creekstone apartment, right, man?
Yes.
Isn't it true I was just over there Tuesday, Sunday? I was just at that apartment with y'all Sunday. Isn't that true, man?
I wasn't there.
You wasn't there?
No.
How many times I done seen you at that apartment, man?
I don't recall.
So you mean to tell me you ain't never saw me at that apartment?
No, sir.
Did y'all stay on Sycamore Drive?
Possibility, but I don't remember.
You don't, the Green apartment right there on Sycamore Drive, Rivers Edge, isn't it true that y'all stayed over there, man?
Yes, sir.
Okay, isn't it true that you saw me at that apartment before, man?
No.
But you were staying there with she got the green.
When I came, it was like the end of May, I believe.
Isn't it true that during your interview you told the agent that y'all don't know Jackie, the people in the house that don't know? Isn't that true?
I said I didn't know you.
You didn't tell the agent that many three of them didn't know me, they saw only place they saw me at the club or something like that. You recall?
I said they might have known you from the club,
Okay, but you didn't tell them that they knew me and I've been in the apartment this way.
but I didn't remember. I don't know you like that, so I didn't know.
But you know you were staying in Creekstone apartment in good shape, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when they moved into the apartment, you were staying with them throughout until this March 24th, Thursday.
No, I was there with my grandmother.
Okay. I thought you said you were staying with them because you moved to Florida to slow down.
I did.
Okay, but you weren't staying in Creekstone apartment.
When I came from Florida, I moved with my grandmother and other kids, and I moved on there because it was too many people, so she had to let me move with her.
How long you stayed with them, Shay?
I don't know.
Week or 2 months or 2 years, 2 months,
And only know because I've been working back and forth.
Isn't it true that during your interview you told them Jacob was asleep with a gun on the floor? Isn't it true that you told them that, man?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about Jacob being asleep with a gun on the floor.
They said that you was just sleep on the floor.
They, who was that?
Chandra and Quentin Mandrell and Ronaldo.
I'm sorry, could you give me those names again so I can write them down, please?
Chandra, Quentin, and Ronaldo.
They didn't try to get that gun while I was asleep on the floor. They didn't talk about getting the gun while I was asleep.
What they did talk about was putting some drops in your trunk and letting everybody leave.
Ronaldo and Quentin, some pretty big dudes when you agree that some pretty big guys.
Yes.
Okay. They ended on women say, hey, let's get this gun for this man to call the police on him while he's asleep. Did anybody do that?
I don't remember.
Did you tell him to call the police while he's asleep or get the gun from him? Did you do that?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because I was in the room. I didn't know you was asleep.
But they told you I was asleep. You heard them say James was asleep, right?
Afterwards,
Okay. When is afterwards?
after we were leaving, like, we were about to get ready to surrender.
How about the reward money? Is it true that I offer y'all that reward money?
You said because you didn't want me, we told you we get conceived and ready to leave, but you said you didn't want to leave.
But I did offer y'all the reward money, right, man? Correct, ma'am?
Sure.
Did you hear or do you recall Max Rail and Quentin telling me that we can get more than $50,000, we can get up to, we can get $100,000? Do you recall hearing them say that?
Yes.
Tell us about that. They tell me I can get more than $50,000, we can get $100,000. Tell the jury that, please, man.
I don't remember everything they was saying, I just know they said they was gonna give you the money for you to leave, and you said you didn't want to leave. And they said they gave more than that, or whatever, they didn't need it.
Okay, but isn't it true? They said that we can get more than $50,000, we can get $100,000. Isn't that true, man?
Yeah.
Now, which one said that? Was it Quentin and Max Rail? Or
No.
which one said it? Which one said it?
Don't remember. Never both.
Ma'am, how many people left their house to come back?
Ronaldo, Chandra, and Belinda.
Isn't it true that Quentin left was Shanghai, Quentin and Shanghai left? Is that true, ma'am?
Oh, yes.
Where did they go?
I don't know.
So you don't know, but you know they come back, right?
Yeah.
During your interview, I noticed you told the agent that you didn't see me doing any cocaine. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Cadet Riley. Sir, would you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give the court in this matter, State versus Jamie Donnell Hood, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth help you God.
Yes, sir.
Put your hand down there. And you state your name for the jury, please.
Quentin Ryder.
And how do you spell your first name for the court reporter?
Quintin.
And sir, right now, are you incarcerated in federal prison?
Yes, sir.
Are you awaiting sentencing?
Yes, sir.
And were you brought back to come testify in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
And sir, as far as awaiting sentencing, what are you awaiting sentencing for?
84 months to 105.
And on what charge are you awaiting sentencing?
Distributing cocaine base.
Let me show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 916. Can you see that, or do you need to turn the pages down?
That's correct.
Can you show those pages to me?
916.
Yes. You recognize that document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that the indictment and the plea agreement, and other court-related documents related to your federal case?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, I would tender State's Exhibit 916 into evidence.
No, sir, Your Honor.
And with that, Mr. Ryder, did you plead guilty to count 3 as part of the plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
And as part of that, you're to receive a sentence at sentencing of anywhere from 84 to 105 months?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been in federal custody, sir?
Since June of last year.
June of 2014?
Yes, sir.
And what were you originally arrested for before you went into federal custody?
Violation of parole, with federal firearm, and possession of cocaine.
And after that, the federal charges were made against you, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, how old are you, Mr. Ryder?
34 years old.
And where did you grow up?
Athens, Georgia, on the east side of town.
What high school did you go to?
Cedar Shores.
And let me ask you, do you know Chandra Beth?
Yeah, that's my wife.
And when were y'all married?
2013.
That was in July?
Yes, sir.
You and your wife have any children at all?
Have 2 children.
And what are their names and ages?
Zion Ryder, he's 5 years old, and Quincy Ryder Jr., he's 3. He's 2.
And when did you and Chandra meet?
First of 2009,
And how did y'all meet, sir?
through my best friend, Mandrell, and his girlfriend, Shay.
And Chandra and Shay are sisters.
Yes, sir.
And through all of that, did you wind up meeting Belinda Willoughby, who's also known as Belinda Willoughby Village?
Yes, sir.
Did you get to know her now husband, Ronaldo Village?
Yes, sir.
Did you know Jadon Brooks at all, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you ever know of him at all?
I know of him on the streets, you know.
And how about Omar Ray? Did you know him before his death?
Yeah, same, just through the streets.
Okay. Jamie Hood, the defendant here, did you ever get to know him at all?
I know Jamie, he dated one of my cousins, named Tip Marshall, and he also best friend of my sister Ty.
And prior to March of 2011, when was it you got to know him or see him at all at some point?
2011,
Prior to that?
I stayed on River East, come by the house. Jane got all these pink blood stuff. We don't go around a couple times in the car stuff.
Now, let me ask you, that week of beginning Monday, March 21st, particularly March 22nd, that Tuesday, did you hear that week at some point about what they've had in the Jadon Brooks and to the officers at all?
Somebody made a phone call to me and told me what had happened.
Now, let me direct your attention to that Thursday, March 24th, 2011. You know, during that time, where were you living?
Auburn Ridge.
And who were you living with?
Me and my wife and my one son at the time.
And did you know where Chandra and Mandrell were living at that time?
Yes, sir.
And where was that?
Freestone apartment off Commerce Road.
Had you and Chandra lived over there before March at some point with them before you moved to Arbor Ridge?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me direct your attention to that Thursday, March 24th, 2011. Did you wind up going over there to Creekstone apartment at some point that day?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that, when that may have been, and tell us about how you wound up over there.
I was at home babysitting Zion, and I got a call from Andrea. He asked me to stop by. And did I want to make a drug transaction? And I told him yes. And I started off for a minute because I didn't have no ride. And
Why didn't you have a ride?
because I had my car, Chandler's at work. So I got a call. He called back, they don't ask me what taking me so long. I told him I had a ride, so give me a minute, I'll be over there. So another one of my friend guy by the name of Joshua Smith came by and picked me up and gave me a ride at Mandrell's house. And I knocked on the door. Mandrell came over the door. Once I got in the house, I shot my car seat down, I had my baby in and shot the door back. When I turned around, that's when I seen Mr. Hood standing up.
Let me go back a second. When you got over there, a person named Joshua brought you over there?
Yeah, Joshua Smith.
And when he brought you over there, he just dropped you off or did he stay?
He just dropped me off and left.
And did you have your son Zion with you at that time?
Yes, sir.
And was he in some sort of a carrier or car seat?
In the car seat.
And is that how you brought him in the car seat, or did you take him out of the car seat and
I loaded him up in the car in this car seat with the seatbelt on.
when you got over to the apartment, did you just pull the car seat out and take it in?
No, I towed the whole car seat in with him in it.
I see. And when you went to the door, do you remember if the door was locked or whether it was unlocked?
It was locked, 'cause I had to knock on the door.
And when you knocked on the door, did somebody open it at all?
Yeah, Mandrell came open.
And after opening the door, you went inside with your son
Yes, sir.
and closed the door.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, you said you did what?
I turned around, to lock the door back, and once I turned back around the face, from the door, then when I seen Jamie Hood stand up out of the chair.
Is that the defendant sitting here in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
And what did you say or he say at that time, if anything?
When I got there, he was like, you know what's going on, come over here, take the baby back up to the bedroom, and you come back to the living room.
Did you see any kind of weapon at all?
Yes, sir.
What did you see?
I got a chrome 40 with a black helmet.
And did he have it?
Yes, sir.
Which chair was he in or what seat was he in? Do you remember?
It's like he went on the couch now, like a little folded chair, folded type chair.
And in addition to Mandrell, was anybody else in the room at all when you walked in?
Well, Mandrell was in the living room, but when I took my son to the bedroom, he was shaved, huddled up with Linda, and they looked good and neat.
And did you notice their demeanor? What were they like at that time?
Linda, like, she was real, like, tore up. I could tell she been crying and looking really stretched out, same as shade. Neat's like kind of normal.
And you took Zion back there?
Yes, sir.
And after doing that, what happened?
I came back into the living room with Mandrell and Mr. Hood.
And what happened when you came back in the living room?
I sat down and we talked. He asked me did I know what was going on. I told him I heard. Asked me did I have any cash on. I told him not. He told me that Mandrell had given him some money. That he trying to gather some money where he can leave out of town.
And what else was said about that, if anything, about the money?
Basically, that's it. That's all the basic saying. And I sat down on the sofa.
What happened after that? After you came in that back in the living room that first time?
Sat down for a minute. I was talking to him. I asked him a question like, I thought he had been on left town, how he ended up being over here and stuff like that. Why the reason they called me over there, the man said that he didn't have no choice to call me over there because he told me to call me over there.
And what did the defendant, Jamie Hood, tell you about how he wound up over there? Did he say at that time?
I was giving him thing told me how he been over there.
And what else happened at all in the apartment that day? Anybody else come in or what happened?
Later on that day, Chandra called my phone. She was getting her hair done and she asked me what like the house and I told her nobody came over on her sister in that house and she asked me did I want her to come over there and pick us up and I let Jamie know that it was her on the phone. He said yeah, that you call her to come on over. So Chandra ended up coming over to the house next.
And did she come inside at that time?
Yes, sir.
And after coming inside, where did she go?
She came in. When she seen him, she kind of shocked, and then he saw her in the bedroom with her sister and her mother.
And then what else? Did anybody else come in?
That next person was Terrence.
Terrence who?
I guess his name last name Blanca.
Did you really know him that well?
Yeah, I know him. He's just younger than me, but I know him.
And how was it he came over there, or tell me what happened when he came over there?
He made Matt call. He called Matt home, and Matt told him to stop by the house and bring some weed and smoke, and he ended up coming over there.
And when he came over there, what happened? He come inside?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
He sat down, he looked at me and Matt for a minute, like he was in shock, like basically like y'all called me up and he seen Mr. Hood, and him and Hood started talking and stuff, and he sat down on the sofa,
And, anybody else come over there that day?
Ronaldo Bill,
And, when did he come over there, do you remember?
he came on later on, I guess he had contact Belinda, and was trying to see what her was about, and we let Ms. Hood know that, you know, he was coming too, and he said, hey, tell him come on too, that Ronaldo can come over to the house too.
And did he wind up coming over there later that day?
Yes, sir.
And, at some point during that day, or at some point over the next day or so, did Terrence wind up leaving and coming back?
Yeah, Terrence, and he had a phone call that about his sister was fighting downtown at the club, and I think out of the phone, he looked like he was upset, and Hood asked him like, what's wrong with you? He said, oh, my sister downtown fighting, she got locked up, my mother get go burn out. Hood told him, well, you know, family come first, so go handle your business and go get your sister out of jail, and he let Terrence out the house.
And, did Terrence wind up coming back?
Came back like the next day.
And, after coming back the next day, did he wind up leaving at some point after that?
Yes, sir, he left again.
Tell us about that. Do you remember how that happened?
Basically came back like, hung around a little bit and just told everybody to leave.
And, now, during the day at all, on that Thursday, did you and Chandray ever leave?
Yes, sir.
And, tell us about that. Why did y'all leave and where did you go and what happened before you left?
Well, my son needs some milk and pounds. And, so we asked him, can we go get some milk and pounds for the baby? And he was like, yeah, y'all go ahead. And, I tried to grab my baby and get him prepared for the car seat. And Mr. Hood asked me, when you going with the baby? I said, you going with us? And he's like, nah, the baby ain't going with y'all because if y'all going to do something crazy and call the law on me, then y'all will put y'all baby in jeopardy. So he didn't let the baby go. Me and Chandray, so me and Chandray left off and went to the apartment on our own and left our baby behind.
Did he say anything at all about y'all getting anything at all while you're out?
I think stopped by and I grabbed some Popeye chicken. He said he was home and went to the Popeye, got some chicken for him, and that was basically it.
And where did y'all go other than Popeye?
Just to our apartment and then started Popeye and came back.
And at some point, did you ever have any powder cocaine?
Yes, sir, did.
How did you come to that?
The first thing when I said that when drug called me, said they had a drug trade, that's what the reason he go to the house, and I had cocaine with me.
And did that ever come out at all?
Yeah, I brought the cocaine out.
And what happened with that?
It sat on the coffee table for a minute, and on through the day, as they were going on, he asked me, can you do something? So I made him some line, and then he made me smoke something with him, so both of us used it.
And who is he?
Mr. Hood.
And do you know when that was during the day?
I can't remember the day, what time it was, but it happened later on now.
Was it that Thursday or the next day on Friday, or do you remember?
The next day, probably on Thursday.
The next day would have been Friday. So do you think it was that Thursday, the first day, or the second day?
It wasn't the first day, so the second day.
Now, at some point, were you and Mandrell allowed to leave with the children?
Yeah, when he called, when he had Normal call and said he ready to give himself up, he sent everybody to the bedroom. He was going to let the women go out first, and then he had to change the plan. And said, I'm going to keep all the women, I'm going to let you and Mandrell leave out the kids.
Did he say why?
I don't know why, he didn't say why, but they just go ahead and change the plan.
Now, during this time at all, did you ever hear him make any statements about the officers at all?
No, basically looking at the news, and I remember him saying that he feels sorry for killing Brother Christian. He wish he could have been Howard instead of Brother Christian, and that the reason that he did all this because of Jadon and Kenny Campbell that got him doing all the killing stuff.
What did he say about Jadon and Ken Campbell?
That they crossed him out and went and stole his people.
Stole his what?
I guess like he was a drug supplier. They went behind his back and started dealing with somebody that he was dealing with on the drugs.
Did he say anything at all about what happened with Jadon and who was with him and what may have happened at that time?
Yeah, he said he called Jadon to come over to the Defendant house about some marijuana, and when Jadon arrived at the Defendant house, he entered the house, 3 black other males came out with masks on and duct taped him, and they had him there for me, asking him a question about Ken, what about, what can you tell me what Ken and that, and my understanding Jadon won't corroborate him, so they put him in the trunk.
Did he say what he was going to do with Jadon?
Nah, he didn't ever say what he was going to do with him, he just wanted him to take him what Ken was.
And did he say about how Jadon got out of him?
Yeah, I said he was in the middle of the track, or at a red light or something, and said he just seen the trunk of his Cadillac up and seen Jadon run up the street.
And then what did he say he did?
Said he wanted to jump out and shoot him, but he was so in the car back up, so he got back in the car and fled.
Did he say where he went at that time?
No, sir.
And after shooting the officer, did he say what happened, where he went, and how he got away, and at that point that you recall?
No, sir.
Do you recall about him saying anything about how he may have got over to the Creekstone area?
Riding bicycle.
What did he say about riding the bicycle?
Said he rode from down by the parent house and rode to Freedom Drive.
And did he say why he was over at Freeman Drive?
He said that he wanted to come over there, and he said something about Ken having to understand over there, and he wanted to go see the shoot down, and that he wanted to kill her, just to show examples, and Ken was hiding out, but she wasn't there, so he went to another spot where some local drug dealers there, I guess Bishop and Rashid, and seen them there, so he can rob them, get some more cash, but they wasn't there neither. And then in this spot, he said was closer was Mandrill house, so he hung out in the pad until it got daylight.
And then what did he say happened?
Niggas wanted to run, but she called for she could go to work, and he ran up on her and tapped on the one and got out of the car and led her back into the house and woke Mandrill up.
Now, while y'all were in there at all, was there ever a discussion about anybody going with him to do any kind of drive-by or anything like that?
No, sir.
You don't recall that?
No, sir.
You remember him saying anything at all about Amari Ray?
Yes, sir.
What do you recall him saying about Amari Ray?
He was telling me a story about Omar, about that they crossed him out and that Omar used to be his friend too, and that one day he seen Omar at the mall in Jadon, and he was walking the mall and they didn't speak to him, so he felt some type of way and wanted to know why they didn't speak to him, because he was dealing with Kenny Campbell, and that he went over to Omar's mama's house and laid on him, and Omar's got out of the car. He ran up on Omar's and tell me what Ken, that Omar refused to tell him what Ken was too, so he said he shot him. Omar started screaming, making noise, and he shot him again. He said he seen Omar's mama coming out to the door, and he didn't want to shoot her over there, but she did. He was shot her too, and he just fled.
You remember what he said he was wearing at the time he did that?
No, sir.
Now, tell me about y'all's cell phone.
Yes, sir.
When you came in there, did you have a cell phone?
Yes, sir.
What kind of phone did you have at that time?
I can't remember if it was a T-Mobile or a Metro. Can't remember.
And Did it have the ability to record it all in any way?
Yes, sir.
And, Mr. Ryden, when you got in there, did you take your cell phone?
No, sir.
Did you wind up having it when you got over there?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody wind up calling y'all at all during this time while you were over there?
Later on that night, when he was getting ready to turn himself in, we got a phone call from Sean Brown. And once Sean Brown called, he gave the phone to Keanu County.
And did you hear that conversation?
Yes, sir.
And was the defendant Jamie Hood part of that conversation on the phone?
Yes, sir.
And what did you hear of that conversation?
I heard him. Kelly asked him, why did he do that to Omar? And he said, the reason I did it, because your bitch ass was hiding out. You got Omar killed because I couldn't find you.
And did you hear any more of that phone conversation or with Kenyatta Campbell or anyone else?
Yeah, they were all back and forth through the phone, him and Kim like they fucked up, and just they just having a turn right back through the phone, and they had a conversation.
Now, during this time that you were there on Thursday and Friday, did you record any of the statements he made on your phone?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about how you did that.
I sat down and we was talking out, and I was asking him questions about the gun and why he did it, and he was going through the motion and stuff, and he broke down and asked me, he said, y'all want to know that they tried to pay me $25,000 to kill your two homeboys, and I was like, who? He was like, Richard and Chris Thomas. And I said, who's trying to pay you $25,000? He was like, Kim was trying to give you $25,000 to kill them because some back he thought that they had killed Omar. He said, but I killed Omar, so that's why I didn't do it. So I guess Kim was trying to pay him some money to kill one of my other two best friends. Because the word on the street had them think that they killed Omar. And he said that I killed Omar, and then I went and did Paul got a criminal. And he said I was standing behind Ken the whole time, saying to myself, you next.
That's what the defendant was telling you?
Yeah, that was what he said. And I recorded all on the phone.
After that, you started recording?
Yes, sir.
How did you do that physically with the phone?
I would act like I was just looking at something, and I put it on record, and I laid the phone on the coffee table, started asking questions.
How did you lay it? Did you lay it up or down?
Down.
Why did you do that?
Just in case he wanted to see me scream and get up and see that I was doing something.
And were you able to record every single thing or just portions of it?
It was just like a portion of the phone, like when you record, it'll start on its own, and you had to start to record back again.
And did you do that a number of different times?
Yes, sir.
And after you were released, was that phone that you had seized by the police department?
Yes, sir.
And were those recordings downloaded by the police department?
Yes, sir.
And have you listened to those recordings since then, sir?
Yes, sir.
Let me show you what's been marked as case exhibit number 917. This CD, please, sir.
I object to this hearsay. This phone record, this related phone call, this previous hearsay. Number one, cause I never said this. I got this CD after I started representing myself 3 years later. I didn't know nothing about it.
Now that's a speaking objection. I would object to
Can I finish?
Your objection is hearsay. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I'm not finished explaining for the record. I want to do it for the record.
That's all I need to hear is the objection is hearsay.
Okay, so I can explain why. When I got it 3 years later and all this whole mess.
That's correct.
Under 24, 801, 802, this is not hearsay, it's the defendant's statements, and therefore does not constitute hearsay.
Objection's on the roll.
Looking at that CD, case exhibit number 917, you recognize that particular CD, sir?
Yes, sir.
And, did you listen to that CD? Would you let him look at it again, ma'am? Did you listen to that particular CD in my office this morning,
Yes, sir.
in the conference room downstairs,
Yes, sir.
with my investigator?
Yes, sir.
And after listening to it, did you basically put your initials and the date on there?
Yes, sir.
That's the exact CD that you listened to?
Yes, sir.
And does that CD fairly and accurately reflect the phone calls that you recorded over there at Creekstone when all this happened on March 24th and 25th, 2011?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, phone call, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Not the phone call, but the statements that you recorded on your phone
Yes,
on
sir.
those 2 days of March 24th and 25th, 2011.
Yes, sir.
And there appear to be any additions or deletions or changes at all in any way
No, sir.
in our tender states exhibit 917 into evidence at this time.
I object again, yes, sir. Name for the record.
Objection.
And I'd like to public seat this time, Judge, in the manner that we discussed. Different phone call. Now, I'm gonna play one, stop it, and have you tell us what was said in play. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Play this first one. It's on the top. And on that one, I don't believe there's anything, but I'll play it just to show that. Let me play the second one, and then we'll look at the sound, Judge. On that second one there, whose voice was that talking about the IRS boys?
Mr. Hood,
And what was he saying?
they got a crew to call the IRS boy, and that all the dirt gonna be moved through him, he gonna take over, and all the dirt gonna be moved through him.
second one that ended in the numbers 901, and play the third one that ends in the numbers 902. Sir, in the background there appeared to be some talk in there about armed and so forth. What was that in the background?
There was probably us talking, asking questions, but my understanding, he said, you gotta know he had 3 armed men, masked men with him, called the RX boys. And then I heard a clip, he said that, on that y'all go date.
Was there any kind of news, TV on in the background at all?
Yes, sir, we watching the news the whole time was in the house.
Play the one that is the 4th on the list here, ending in prefix 903. First of all, in some of these recordings, there's another voice other than the defendant. Who was that?
What, asking a question?
Yes.
Me, sir.
Yeah. And what was the defendant saying in that particular recording, sir?
He said that he had to kill Omar, but he did it, and that he was going to kill his plug. He was laying in the snow on his plug, but the reason he killed him because he had kids with him.
He had kids with him?
Yeah, I guess his plug had some children with him, and that's the only reason he didn't kill the plug. He said he was laying on snow on him.
No, okay, you know, you can get down together, some of them come back and see them like that, you know, they might have come in, you want to walk in, you don't want to put them in the clear. Clear, some goddamn clear, I want to be at home, look, I'm let you go on. I got to see you, man, I'm seeing you, I'm always got respect for you, man, there's no way on me, now, I'm over. I'm going to get rid of my children, I'm laying in the snow. But he had 20 years. You can't get 20 years, there's no 18 years. I play it all along. We're going on, I'm there, I'll be strong, I'm okay.
Let me play the 5th recording, which ends in number 904.
I'm going to make the big look, make the big land in the snow, and call it in, and then I'll get the smoke. Make it look big, this thing ain't that combined. You're still in, and they don't look like you're going to play film. Don't want that. That's why you got people go over these, work over these. Don't you leave? Yeah. Oh, I feel kind of sorry for them. They think it's a war. You say you don't look big, I can't have no man on me. You know what he's eating? Come on. No, I mean, you know, you are. Okay, I see the front, I come to this round. I don't change me, I thought I was so bad. I'm going to you. And walk me so bad. And you never want to be because you said, you'll see it much like this. That means you got to be running over you and go on. And if you come in, you go on, you can also go on.
What was he talking about there, sir?
Basically said him and another guy, basically ran the snow, and the kid whoever the plug supposed to be, and that he was talking about Omar killing again too.
What was he saying about Amari's killing?
That he ran up on without no mask.
Make the big look, make the big land in the snow, and call it in, and then I'll get the smoke. Make it look big, this thing ain't that combined. You're still in, and they don't look like you're going to play film. Don't want that. That's why you got people go over these, work over these. Don't you leave? Yeah. Oh, I feel kind of sorry for them. They think it's a war. You say you don't look big, I can't have no man on me. You know what he's eating? Come on. No, I mean, you don't keep on. Okay, I see the front, I come to this round. I don't change me, I thought I was so bad. I'm going to you. And walk me so bad. And you never come over here because you said, you'll see it much like this. That means you got to be running over you and go on. And if you come in, you go on, you also go on.
I didn't ask you, what was he saying about December?
About December?
Yes.
I was asking him about was it snowing time? I guess he's been saying snow, and he was like, yeah. And I was asking him that's around time that Omar got killed.
Did it snow during that time that Amari got killed?
I can't remember.
Let me show you the next track that ends in the number 905.
So he really knows you post me.
What was he saying there, sir?
I had asked him, did Omar really do something to him? And like, whatever good part of the crew good for him. And basically saying that Omar started talking to him and stuff, like they had fallouts.
Judge, I object. The tape speak for itself. He don't need to come. They can listen at it and see for what himself what the tape's saying. He don't need to put no words in his mouth. Let them hear for themselves. He don't need to talk about it. It's plain, let it play.
This is a man who was there and heard the words, and he can basically go ahead and say what was actually said at that time.
Well, I'm going to allow you to ask him questions going forward about the section of tape.
Yes.
So my suggestion was, if he can ask them what his purpose is on this tape, he don't need to be stating his own version. Let's listen to what he say, and they can hear it, and ask a question on what this thing saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's don't take it and make it something
What
else.
you're trying to say. And I'm sustaining your objection only to the extent of forming a question about what is being heard by this witness.
Yes, thank you.
So he really knows you personally.
Play the recording that ends in 907. There was nothing on that recording, Mr. Ryder.
Could he just play it again? It didn't say it like you said. Well, it just said something. Like I couldn't really hear it because he just played it again. Now I'm going to What was that?
I don't know. That was it.
We play what's it's labeled as, it ends in 907A. Mr. Ryden, what do you recall him saying back in March of 2011 that's captured in this recording?
Man, basically he ran up on Omar, shot him the first time. He started screaming. Like I said, he said if the mom came up, he would blow her face off. And he shot Omar a couple more times.
play the recording that ends in the numbers 908. What do you recall back from March of 2011, him saying that's captured in this particular recording?
Basically the same thing. He said he looked Omar's on the page, shot him again. His mom coming to the door. He didn't want to shoot her, but if she did, he would have to shoot her. So he just fled instead of not having to kill Omar's mother. And then he fled and went to his brother's house.
Play the recording that ends in the numbers 912. Play the last recording on here that ends in the numbers 942.
Oh, I think shit, man, you get one for the film, folks. Hey, you know what I'm saying? He should get up and he can show up to get goddamn film. You see it? These folks like to do one shield to get out. The one gonna worry about your boy, you know what I mean? I'm saying, look, man, you got a war in here. Anyone got that walk with? I was trying to kid you too, you know people like yo. They got big, they gotta come back outside. He won't be locked up, I'm locked up, don't get too work. He ain't get no money.
What do you recall back from March of 2011 that he was saying was captured in that last recording, sir?
Said he killed Omar and went to the funeral, and he everybody think by him being going to the funeral that they gonna think he did it, and that he gonna do the same to the done too.
And what do you recall back from March 2011 about Paul Doe that's brought up in this recording?
Said something about Paulo.
Yes.
I don't know what he said about Paulo. He said he from Paulo, but what?
Thank you, sir. Hold on. That's all I had of him at this time, Judge.
Crosses out. On this red,
How you doing today, sir?
I'm here. How about yourself?
I'm here too, sir.
This red.
Yes, sir.
You did a live interview with the news when you come out that house on March 25th, 2011, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall telling the news people Jamie didn't do us no harm? Jamie didn't do no harm to none of us. He treated us like family. Did you tell them that?
Yes, sir.
That was March 25th, you come out from an alleged hostage situation to it.
Yes, sir.
Did you have a chance to tell the news folk that you recorded Jamie Hood confessing to kill no more Ray?
Did I have a tell again, sir?
Did you have an opportunity to tell them news people that you recorded me killing no more Ray?
They already had an interview with me before I came out. You see?
Okay, but it don't matter. Did you have a chance to tell them that?
No, sir.
Did you?
No, sir.
So you mean to tell us, hold on, when did you allegedly record me? When it was over with, before we got there?
I recorded like it was in the holiday time.
Okay, you said you recorded me while we was in the house the whole time, right?
Yes, sir.
So before you talked to that news people, you had allegedly recorded me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you allegedly done that before you talked to the news people, right?
Yes, sir.
So you had an opportunity to tell them live on camera, hey, I recorded Jamie Hood confessing to the Mara Ray murder. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you do that?
No, sir.
Well, why not?
Because that ain't what they asked me.
Okay, did you have an opportunity to tell them?
Yeah, but that ain't what they asked me to tell. They asked me.
Excuse me, what, just a minute.
Objection,
Now, Mr. Ridge, I see you stated, you said you came in and ain't take your phone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you stated you put that phone on the coffee table. Isn't that correct? So I can see it.
Yes, sir.
Well, how in the world you gonna pick up the phone and keep pressing record if the phone on the coffee table?
You said say again. Why?
Oh, yeah, let me go a little slow with you.
Mhm.
You stated that you put your phone on the coffee table. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, if you put that phone on the coffee table, I can see it. How did you allegedly record me with the phone on the table and I'm sitting there looking at you?
Because I kept on picking the phone up, mash record, and sit back down.
But you didn't state that earlier. You said you laid the phone on the coffee table so I could see it.
Because that's what he asked me where it was, and I told him it was on the table.
Okay, so you telling that you kept picking that phone up, asking me questions, and you recorded me.
Yes, sir.
Is that part of your plea deal to come here and say the mess on me?
No, sir.
Okay. Now you had an interview. You had a live interview with Sarah Thomas and Doug Parker on March 25th, 2011. That correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you tell them about this delayed phone recording.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is it true that when they asked to search your phone after you told them this, yeah. Isn't it true that when you were told them about the delayed phone call, they asked to search your phone and you refused it?
Do not remember that.
No, you don't. So you mean to tell us mean to tell her you didn't tell Agent Thomas you refused verbal written consent to your cell phone?
No, if I'm not,
So, if the agent come here and say the agent lied on you,
No, that's not a proper question at all.
so, on March 25th, 2011, for the record, you didn't refuse verbal written consent to search your cell phone. That's what you telling the jury.
I said I do not remember.
Okay, is it possible that it's been so long you forgot?
Yes, sir, it could be.
Okay, now if you did forget, why when you want the agent to listen to that phone call, that phone, this alleged phone recording, why when you want to listen to that you know about it?
They had my policies.
Yeah, I'm talking about when they first, March 25th, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you refuse that verbal written consent? I think
He's already asked him that.
Okay. Okay, but you agree that you possibly said that you forgot about it?
Yes, sir.
Now, okay, did they get a warrant before they searched your cell phone?
Can't remember that either.
Okay, but did you tell the agent that you wanted her to get a warrant before she searched your cell phone?
Can't remember.
Okay, but is it possible it's been so long that you forgot?
Could be.
Okay, how could you remember certain things, but you remember certain things?
What kind of court that you had?
Because what type of answer you
No,
get?
that's argumentative, and that's not the case.
So how could you come here and remember certain things today, but when I ask you about the warrants and verbal written consent, you can't recall?
Because he playing through the phone. So I can hear and I can, that's how I can relate to it.
Okay, but wouldn't you agree that if you telling the police, hey, I got this guy on the cell phone, wouldn't you agree it would be good to let them listen at it, or give them, hey, y'all go search my phone, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I can agree with that, sir.
Okay, but you didn't do that.
I said I don't know, I don't remember.
But is it so long ago that you possibly forgot?
Yes, sir.
Now, on what day? You also had another interview with, on April 7, 2011, you had an interview with Special Agent Trent Hilsman and Agent Rebecca Shaw, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Isn't that the day they gave you your cell phone back, Mr. Rick?
Yes, sir.
Now, so from March 25th to April 7th, you didn't have your cell phone, did you?
I can't remember.
What can you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. But is it possible it been so long ago you just can't remember?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but isn't it true they gave your phone back on April 7th, 2011?
No, it's been a long time. I can't remember what the date was they gave my phone back.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you remember getting it back during the interview, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it back.
That was old Agent Hilsman gave you that phone back too.
I don't know his name, sir.
So you don't know who interviewed you?
No, sir.
But you do know you talked to them news folks and told them that Jamie didn't do her no harm and treat her like family, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you do know that you never did say that to them news folks about you recorded Jamie Hood allegedly saying something about Omar Ray.
That's
Isn't that
already
correct?
been
Yes, sir.
What did you and Agent Hilsman and Miss Rebecca Shaw talk about on April 7, 2011?
Well, that calls for a narrative, and I would object to it. I want to go into what they talk about.
You know, may I be heard on that?
Just ask the question.
Okay, but I thought in my right, due respect, if you make objection, it's my right to say what I got to say as for the record.
I suspect the objection, just ask the question.
I just want to fact out. That's all I want.
Ask the question.
Ms. Rick, do you recall what y'all talked about on April?
We talked about everything that happened in the house.
Now, I'll mention something. Did Mandrea Hull tell you to record me when I was talking?
No, sir.
So Mandrea didn't motion to you, hey, hit your record button on me?
No, sir.
So Mandrea told that jury that he lied to her?
No, that's an improper question. I knew the prosecutor a number of times asked the same sort of question. I've asked each direct
Objection sustained.
Well, he
The
testified.
objection is sustained. Ask another question.
reason was Mandrill had to testify and tell the jury he told you to
That's
record.
speculation and it's an improper question also.
You don't know why Mr. Hood would have told that jury that?
That's the same question. And I would
Sustained again.
That interview was recorded. The April 7, 2011 interview was recorded with showing Mr. Hillsman and Ms. Rebecca Shaw. Is that correct?
I don't know exactly what day it was on.
But do you remember it was being recorded?
Yes, sir.
Now, so what you told them is on the recording too, isn't it?
They asked me about what happened in the house.
Okay, exactly. Now, isn't it true that y'all got ready to talk about this alleged phone recording that y'all turned that recording also about them hit y'all?
Ask me that one time.
I said, isn't it true that when you and Agent Shaw and Agent Hillman got ready to talk about this alleged phone recording that y'all turned that audio off recording also nobody couldn't hear you talk about the phone recording? Isn't that right?
No, that ain't right.
So I'm lying on you.
Y'all
I guess you is.
That's an improper question.
Sustained.
I just thought we were here for the truth, Judge, you know.
That's another question.
So you tell the jury right now, when you and Agent Hillsman and Ms. Shaw got ready to talk about this cell phone recording, they been turned that recording off so we could hear.
They didn't turn out those.
Wait, there's objection, God willing, sustained.
I guess it's a fact to say no, they didn't turn it up.
No, they did not turn up.
Mr. Rick,
Yes, sir.
during your interview, did they ever insinuate or accuse you of being with me?
Yes, sir. That's what again.
I asked you, during your live interview that was recorded,
Mm-hmm.
did the agent ever accuse you or insinuate that you were with me or you were helping me evade the police?
I remember them asking me something about, was I one of the three dudes that was in your house?
Why would they assume that you were with me and you one of the three guys?
Can't say what they may or may not have assumed, that it's pure speculation. Like why they think it.
Sustained.
How did you feel when they accused you or insinuated that you were with me?
Well, I think just a question. I mean, I feel like, they probably looking at me as being a criminal, got a criminal background, but I ain't really get offended about it.
I ain't asked you to defend it.
Those are comments, those are not questions, and I would reject.
Ask the question.
But you would agree that they did ask a question or insinuate that you were with me, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell them, did you ask them to ask you that question?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, did they say something to you about your live interview? What the media, did they ask you what type of comment did you give to the media about Jacob?
About the news people?
Yeah.
Did the agent ask me?
Yeah.
No, sir.
So you mean to tell the jury, the agent didn't ask you about, did you give an interview with the news?
No, sir.
Is it just possible they done you done forgot about it?
Now, that's speculation, and I would reject.
I will rule object.
Is it possible they asked you, dude, you just been so long you forgot it?
Yeah, it can be possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. Well, if it's possible, why do you sit here saying no?
I just said no because I don't remember, but it is a possibility. Yeah, it could be.
How about this? Isn't it true? Isn't it true that they talked to you about your live interview with the media concerning the comments about Jack Hood?
I can't remember.
Have anybody ever accused you of y'all helping me evade the police?
No, sir.
So you mean to tell me ain't nobody on the street or police never insinuated, accused that you were helping me?
No, sir.
when the first time you went over the, your cell phone recording? When was the first time that you go over the recording?
When the first time I go home,
Yes, sir. When the first time that you listened to them? What date was that?
I can't remember the date, but they called me out and had to sit down with me and we went over home.
Tell us about the call out and sit down and the phone recording.
Well, they called me out to, I guess what it is on 29. I don't know, it's a building out here on 29. I came out there, we had to sit down and we went over them.
Okay. Now, was it recorded? Did they record what y'all sit down and talk about the cell phone? Was that recorded?
I can't remember.
Is there anything that going on in your life that caused you not to remember certain things?
Can't remember.
But you say you called out, you seem to remember that they called you out there on 29, y'all talked about it. But
Yes.
you remember that, right?
Yes, sir.
How can you remember that, but you can't remember what went on?
Now, that's an improper question, because he didn't say he didn't remember what went on. He didn't remember whether that part of that occasion was recorded, and that's what he said. So that's an improper misleading question.
Okay, you know what, I think you're right on that, Judge, because he did say they did not cut the recording off. And Judge,
I ask another question.
did you know I did listen at your interview?
Say it again?
No,
Do
you
you know-
can't answer that question.
Okay. You had the live interview, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would it surprise you that I listened at it and I heard everything got cut off?
That is not an appropriate question at all. And I would object to it.
I'm asking him a question relevant to this cell phone recording and about being cut off, Judge. I didn't listen at the CD and I know it was cut off. That's why I asked you.
Your Honor, I would object to the speaking responses like that. You need to respond to the objection, and that's not a proper question.
I'll sustain the objection.
Well, come on, Judge. I thought we were
Ask
here for
another
the truth.
question.
Should we quit? Because I feel like what I'm fighting for.
That's up to you.
Yeah, but I'm feeling, what is this?
You have another question.
You wouldn't come here and lie to get out
Your
more
Honor,
than the
that's
sentence you
if
put.
you continue to ask questions like that, and I would object to that. You should. I would ask that
Objection sustained.
Okay, Judge, but he said he
Ask
finished the
another
sentence.
Ask another question.
Well, Judge, I got a case law that I like to state for the record about the convictions and all that I had. And I like to put it on the record.
You can do that at a later time.
Well, I thought it was my right to do it now.
It's not related to a question that's being asked.
It's related to this one. There's a 609 about them convictions on prior charges that go to the witness credibility. I think y'all know better than me. I'm pro se. But I will pull it out and show it to you and rule of evidence. Want me to do it? I will.
This is on the exhibit 916.
No, I'm talking about the question that I just asked. I'm talking about the rules of evidence before me asking this question. That's what I'm talking about, the rules of evidence and it's relevant for me.
Stop. Pass the jury, go to jury. I understood that you wanted to cite me law on the admissibility of exhibit 916. Is that not true?
No, I was talking about the rule of evidence, was 906, 609, federal rule of evidence about asking questions. It's not on this exhibit. I was asking him, is he facing this sentence, is what calling him to answer the question he can't recall. What is his problem? He can answer certain questions, but when I go to talk about certain things specific, oh, I can't recall. That's what I'm talking about. I'm here for the truth. And I'm not under no circumstance finna lay down and let nobody tell no lie on them sitting here either. I ain't gonna do it. So
What question were you about to ask?
it's concerning.
Just tell me the question.
The question
Okay, what's
is,
concern?
are you facing a federal sentence and it causing you not to recall certain things or answer certain way? There's some got to be motivated. And that's why they got that. And he jumped up and
You
objected.
don't need to explain it, I'm just asking what the question was. Mr. Mullen?
No, that was not the question he asked that I objected to. He was going back, when you come in here and lie on me, And that was how it was prefaced, if I recall correctly. Didn't have anything to do about facing the federal sentence. There was no mention of the federal sentence or federal charges or anything like that.
I thought that said anything. Would anything cause you to lie on me? And I was trying to let him tell it to me. We know he got the federal sentence. And we know
Is
this.
there anything that would cause you to lie on me is not a proper question? I will sustain objections relating to that.
Okay.
What you told me that you were going to ask is not what I heard. I would allow that question.
Well, it just really irritates me, and I know they sit here, I got the man CD, and they didn't cut off, he gonna get on the stand, oh, I ain't cut it off, and I got it.
Mr. Hood, that's,
I mean, ain't that perjury? What you call it? It got to be called something.
are you ready to start back?
I'm ready to start that.
Now, with their objections, I'm gonna need to rule on them.
All right. But I thought I'd get an answer on the objection before you rule. I thought that.
If I choose to let you be heard, I will. If it's a clear objection, I'm sustaining it or overruling it. All right? See if they won't come back in.